Hello, welcome back to Dumb Thumbs FPV. I'm Dumb Thumbs. I call it that because I've had operations on my hands. My hands don't work the same as yours do. My thumbs are very stiff. I don't have the resolution that you do, the dexterity. This is the trash can, and this is the modification that I did to the trash can. Okay, basically all I did was I took a TinyLeader frame and just mounted the trash can stuff to it. Okay. Why would I go through all of that? Why would I do this? Well, it's really simple. The stock trash can frame has a real inherent flight problem outdoors. It tends to wash out on power loops and also quick turns. It dips down. It just does not feel very well. And I know that you could kind of do some more tuning on that. And I know some guys are saying, well, when you're doing your power loop at the end, just keep on a little bit of power and it won't do it so much, and so on and so forth. But here's the thing. I have a TinyLeader and it doesn't do that. I mean, this flies like a heavy 2.5-inch quadcopter is what it flies like, because it is heavier. It's 20 grams heavier than the stock trash can. So on 2S, it's kind of a dog. I mean, not really, but I mean, it flies really nice, and it doesn't have any washout whatsoever. It doesn't have any funny characteristics to it. On 3S, this thing's a bullet. So I thought, okay, well, why doesn't this do it, and yet the trash can does do it? Plus many other ones, many of these whoops. And I thought, well, maybe it has something to do with the dead cat frame. Dead cat frame is where the propellers in the front are wider than the propellers in the back. The reason I came up with that conclusion also is because I've had this problem before. I had this problem about 3.5 years ago with a 3-inch quadcopter. It was a B-rotor quadcopter. It would do the same exact flight characteristics as the trash can. And, back then we didn't have F4 boards. We didn't have beta flight was, God, I can't remember what beta flight was, 1 point something. But, it just had inherent issues. And that's why, Rotor X came out with the Atom V2 in a dead cat frame. And by having the propellers go out this way, away from the quad, in the opposite direction that's normal, it really flew solid. I mean, absolutely solid. And I think because you don't get that prop wash, you don't get that dirty air from your front props and washing into your back here. So this thing flew great in the day. I mean, and it still flies great today. Not as good as some of the newer ones like the HGLRC, but it does fly really good, and it's very, very durable. So that's why I did this thing. It's kind of a concept. I just had an idea. I wanted to see if it worked. I wanted to see, does that fix the inherent problems of this? And it did. It really honestly did. So let's talk about the mods here. So I'm going to show some pictures here. Basically what I did, this is really simple for me to do, but I've been building, RC stuff since 1979, since I was 11. So pretty much anything has kind of gotten easy for me to do. There's really not much here as far as actually putting this on this frame. The stock frame has these plastic standoffs that are molded into the frame right here. And then they have rubber grommets that go over the top here that hold the sandwich, the flight controller board, flight controller and ESC board, as kind of like a dampening effect. And then it just, the top canopy along with the VTX just sits on top of the bolts on 3 of them, not 4 of them. The 4th is right here. It's kind of just a stubby. And so what I did on this is I just got some aluminum tubing right here. It's K&S tubing. I got it from Ace Hardware here in town, and some small screws that were able to fit inside here with very little effort, just to take my screwdriver and thread them in there. And so I just cut this to size, which was basically just a little bit longer than the plastic ones here. And the reason it was just a little bit longer than these stock plastic ones is because I wanted to clear. You can see there's a gap between the canopy and the little rings here, so little prop guards, because that's basically what these are, is prop guards on this one. And so that's it. I mean, it was really, really simple. What I used is a spacer for the rubber right here. You can see it. There's actually a nut here. So I just put some plastic nuts, but you can use rubber O-rings or whatever, not as spacers. That's fine. Plastic nuts are kind of nice because It makes sure that your flight controller board is completely even with the frame. So I just put these plastic nuts that I got with a package of standoffs a long time ago on a, I think it was an HDLRC kit or whatever, or flight controller board. Also in this picture here, you're seeing it. I did take off the stock plugs because the stock plugs on the trash can board, they jut straight down, you know, which are these things, these little connectors. And I just took them off with my little dikes I got from Harbor Freight about 7, 8, 10 years ago. Just pulled them off very carefully, of course. And then I cut the pins. I cut the pins to the board and just welded on the plugs right here. These plugs to the board itself. So I still have my plugs. I still have the ability to unplug a motor and change it out if I have to. The hardest part about also too, I want to point this out, is the stock trash can. I don't know, for whatever dumb reason, they put the antenna, which is a wire. It's just a wire. It's not even a coax. It doesn't have any grounding. It's just a center conductor wire. And what they did is they welded this to the underside of the board for whatever reason. And so you got no range. In fact, I'm going to show a video right here of me actually losing range approximately about 40 or 50 feet from me. Now, granted, there's a house between me and the quadcopter, but still, that's the kind of range issues that I was having with the trash can. And even in parks, you know, you get behind a tree and it just drops out of the sky. Luckily, I wasn't moving really good, you know, before it dropped out, because it would have landed in the street and got ran over. So what I did is I just took the wire off and I welded it on the top of the board and then routed it here along the side. There's quite a bit of wire. I could have actually routed alongside the camera if I wanted to as well. So that's one thing. That's a good little modification there. The hardest part about doing this, not that this is really a how-to video, this is more of a concept to see if I was right, to kind of show manufacturers that maybe in the future, instead of making regular X-style whoops, you can start making these dead cat whoops, and it'll get rid of some of the inherent flight issues. I just use this as a template because the stock trash can motors have three screws, and the ones that they use for the TinyLeader full speed has 4. So in order to get these 3 to work on something that's not made for 3, I just used the stock trash can frame as a template, and it's really simple. So this screw right here goes in this slot. You can see it's got 4 slots here. Goes right in the slot here, and then these 2 right here, you basically just take your drill bit and you just go forward. You just go this way towards this one. You just go forward, just a hair, and that's it. And it'll bolt right up. And it's strong. This is really strong material. There's no way that this motor is going to fall off the frame or get torn from the frame. The stock battery holder that comes with the TinyLeader frame, it's all included in 12 bucks. It was kind of weird too. For 12 bucks, I got a motor. I got an extra motor for some reason in my kit. But for 12 bucks, you get the whole frame and the little TPU battery holder. So then that fits the 350s just fine. These batteries here, they're all right. They're not the greatest battery in the world. There's quite a bit of sag on them, but they're not bad, especially for this build here. You can see the USB here on the bottom. So what I did is I just basically took a cut right here, I took a notch out here, so that the USB comes through here, the bottom of the frame, and is flush with the frame down here. Another reason to have the spacer, another reason to have the little nut spacer here. So it's flush, so the battery can't get damaged by that. And also to make sure that the outside here is not grounded against the carbon fiber, the USB here, the shield. So other than that, guys, that's it. And it did fix the problem. So here's the before video. I'm going to show you the before video, what it was doing, and I'm going to show you the after video, after the modification. I did not modify any of the Betaflight parameters or nothing like that. I just simply unbolted, bolted in here, proof of concept to see if it worked, and it works wonderful. I think with a little bit of extra tuning on this, and I did buy some extra props. I bought these props, some gem fans here, and then these props, and then I got the black sheep props. I want to see if maybe some props would be you know, to do a little bit better, and maybe a little bit more of a tune. But this thing actually flies really, really good. It's nice and light, 20 grams lighter than this, and it flies like on 2S. This thing flies like this one on 3S. That's the truth. So I'm very happy with it. Very, very happy. So anyway, guys, that's it. Watch the videos. All right, guys, so I'm going to wrap it up here. So that's pretty much what I did. I hope manufacturers can, you know, start manufacturing all whoops with just the dead cat frame here to maybe take care of the inherent problems of a normal whoop. Because now we're starting to fly these outdoors, and now with more and more regulations going on worldwide, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the UK, a lot of people are going to start moving to smaller and smaller quadcopters now to get rid of the regulations and paying fees and fines and all this other kind of crap. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, give me a thumbs up, please, and also subscribe. What I'm going to do with this one here is TinyLeader, or I'm sorry, Full Speed RC. They came out with a toothpick, and the toothpick was it's based off of Kebab's toothpick design that he's had out for a while now, and they did ask Bob if they could use the name, and he said sure, that's fine. They did come out with their toothpick, and the problem with the toothpick that they've released is they came out with 8,000 kV motors, and it's made for 4S, so 2S to 4S. Well, once again, if you start getting these discs loaded down on a 4S battery, it's just going to be heavy. I mean, it's going to have plenty of power, but it's going to be heavy. And you're also taking a chance of burning out the ESCs. I mean, full speeds ESCs are not the greatest. In fact, this one here has been modified with an 18 amp Airbot 4-in-1 ESC, because the stock ESCs in this one, they just burn up. They're a huge problem. I don't have any problems now. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually just going to go ahead and take all of this off, put it on the full speed toothpick frame, because it's only 12 bucks, and I'll be able to run this with 11,000 kV motors on 2S. And I think Bob said that try to keep the toothpick builds with battery under 72 grams, and they'll fly perfect. So I think I'll be able to do that with that. So that's going to be a video, guys, that's coming up. And I also have a video on a backpack coming up too. I'm going to probably put out this weekend. It's really a really cool backpack and a chair all in one. So please join me then. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.